Welcome to Talent Instinct, an electrifying space where we dive into how construction business owners revamp their hunt for top-tier talent by instinctivizing their efforts. It's time to spice up relying on systems and processes and discover prime insights on how to smartly apply their most important aspect, their instinct, as well as intellect, to pinpoint individuals who don't just fit in, but flourish. Let's face it, making the right hire for your business has never been more paramount. The stakes of the wrong hire can disrupt performance, profit, culture, and succession planning. Talent Instinct isn't about playing it safe. It's about conquering with calculated instinct. Hi everyone, glad you could join me today. I've got a few subjects to talk about that's more in line with, I guess, what's coming up, especially with the Labor government being in and us going to have an election and what that means, especially for construction in particular. And a lot of that is me wanting to talk about how this may affect projects coming up and projects getting done, as well as workers as well. I want to make it very clear from the get-go that I am neither here or there for the union. I do believe that everyone should be treated well, paid properly, and everything should be done by the book and by law. But it does bring up a few different subjects or things to think about. Things that I have been hearing is that a lot of the main builders are not wanting to tender on the casino because of how the casino went. And if you're in the industry, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. And the problem with that is that they were the highest paid people that we've ever seen. And again, I'm not telling people that they shouldn't earn more money. I don't want people to just pick out one thing and, run with it. All I'm saying is that something that we really need to think about in the industry is it going to get to a point where projects aren't being done because it's too expensive to do? Now, for any construction business, the biggest costs are always labor and materials. So if either of those, and both of those are so high at the moment that it is making it really difficult for projects to get done. Now, I've seen how much it's costing to build high rises. So people are sitting on blocks of land at the moment and are not developing on them and building, which is also, as we know, affecting the housing crisis that we're having. There's so many parts to all of this subject, and so I'm going to try and cover as much as I can, but it's such a big subject with so many different layers, and a lot of it has to do with the immigration that is being let through and into the country, and that affecting our housing and our already housing crisis. For construction specifically, it is really difficult for us because we already have a hard enough time getting people coming up from down south in our own country for them to be trade qualified or be able to understand what Queensland standards are. Let alone we're getting all of these people that are coming from overseas. And again, I have nothing against people coming. They definitely have a place and we need it to boost our economy. It has its place in one way or another, but I'm talking specifically when it comes to construction. So when it comes to construction, when we have all of these people coming over and they're not trade qualified or they don't understand Queensland standards, it means that it makes it very hard for them to get a job, or a lot of them can only do TA work, which again is not really helping our trade shortage, which is what we actually need help with. All right. And then the second problem to that is that a lot of people move up from down south, and on top of that, then we've got nowhere to house them. So they're ending up moving back because they can't find anywhere to live and we can't house them. So as I'm saying, it is such a big subject, and I again want to make it very clear that I see both sides and I see the positive and the negative, but I'm just trying to talk to people and make people aware of, exactly what's going on in the market and what I'm seeing and what other people are telling me and how it's affecting them. So the issue that we also have at the moment is the tunnel. Again, I'm not saying anything brand new. I'm not being that creative. I'm just literally talking about what I've heard. And we all saw on the news that the tunnel had been shut down, which is a massive problem for us as taxpayers because we are going to be paying more tax the longer that stays shut or, the longer the tunnel takes. Now, they're also trying to go for an increase in wage, and that could mean that it's not going to be sustainable for the company to stay open and pay the wages, which, again, I just would never wish on anyone that they get to a point where they have to shut their company down because they can't afford to keep it open. And the last thing that we want as Queenslanders, as people wanting this to happen, is that we see another big company close down because they can't afford to stay open and they can't afford to pay the wages and everything else. And then in actual fact, we have hundreds or thousands of people out of a job and we have projects that are not getting finished. And it's really hard, as we know, working in the industry, get another company to come in and take over that project. So again, to round it up, what's really concerning me right now, or what I'm on tenterhooks to try and see what happens, is how are we going to get the casino done, like the next stages, because no one wants to do it because no one can afford to pay those pay rates. We are still not out of the woods. We still are watching big trade companies go into administration because we have gone from one end where we're getting all of the subsidies from the ATO and that was sort of pushing everyone through, to now the ATO turning around saying, if you have a debt and you cannot stick to a payment plan, then we are going to be asking you to just pay that money. We want our money, which is sending a lot of people into administration. It's putting a lot of pressure on a lot of companies, and that's one of the many reasons of why we are seeing companies go into administration and not be able to pull through. It's concerning, guys. It's really concerning. I'm also seeing that a lot of people that went out there and went out on their own and didn't have to put a lot of work into finding work for their guys are also going into administration or finding it really difficult to see themselves through. I hope that some of them make it through and go to that next level and take on the new bigger projects and things like that. And that's the natural order of life. That's what happens. There will always be somewhere to come through and pick up the work and so forth. But again, it's just very interesting and, sitting back and just watching what's going on and what's happening. I think that we just need to educate people and just make sure that people are getting these pay rises and they are getting more money and things like that, that they're actually aware that, is it money that's actually going to them in their actual pay packet, or is most of it going to the government in tax? Are they paying more tax? Are they going up into that next tax bracket? And how much of that money are they actually seeing? I've said this from day one. Anyone that knows me, talks to me on a daily basis, weekly, whatever, I've been saying for a very long time, the companies that I've always stuck to or know that are going to pull through these tough times that we've had are the companies that have like a solid standard market rate pay rate and that do everything by the book, pay super on time, and aren't looking for a quick fix, aren't going to go, oh, yep, I need 20 guys, don't grow too quickly, they've been around for a while. I think it's really important that people looking for a job or a new job at a new company take that into consideration, and think that from a company perspective, if you are going to tender on these jobs, make sure that you're not undercutting too much where you can't finish the job and can't do it. Look after yourselves and make sure that you're doing all your compliance checks, you're making sure that your subbies or everyone else has the right licensing and has the right people to finish the job. so you don't get yourself into any problems trying to get the job done. I just wanted to make sure that I spoke about what's going on in the market and where we're at now and how we can maybe move forward into the future in the best possible way and save our industry. For me, it's always about like giving back and making sure that we're doing the best thing for the construction industry. And that's making sure that we have things working for both sides of the fence. It's not going to work if, again, we're paying people too much where we can't afford to make money as a business. And I would love to educate some of the workers a bit better on how much money we actually make, and that money doesn't actually personally go to us. It goes to the business in a kitty for that rainy day, or when the workers are having rain days or time off or holidays and all of those sorts of things that we have to pay for. We need to make sure that we have enough money there to be able to survive that, so we can keep on providing them with a job. I think that's all I can say. Is I think that everyone just needs to be super smart and really make sure you've got some procedures in place to cover your business, cover your workers, and as workers, again, make sure you're joining a business that is well operated and has got money for a rainy day and is not trying to sell you the dream and give you just the most money. If I was a worker, I'd be looking at what's a fair wage, like what kind of culture are they trying to develop or have for everybody involved. And they're the companies that you can even grow with. Nothing against any of these big projects or anything else like that. I wish everyone the best. I'm trying to say is we just need to make sure that it's viable for the builder, the trades, the workers, everybody involved, so we can try and work in a harmonious way and all be profitable and all live well and keep our industry in the best possible way. Thank you for joining me. I'll speak to you again next time. Thanks for listening to Talent Instinct. I'm Chantal Penny, and if you want more razor sharp insider info on instinctivizing your hiring game, then hit the subscribe button. Oh, and remember to drop a killer rating and review. Please don't hold back. Spread the news to fellow construction business owners too. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and soak up all of my content, please do so by stalking us on Talent Instinct and my brainchild Siteforce Recruitment on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.